Welcome down the warp pipe. In case you're new, I'm Ty. And if not, welcome back. Today I want to talk about something I really love, which is the old school gaming magazine ads from the 90s and the early 2000s, because I haven't seen them in a really long time. This is probably one of the more recent ones I've taken a look at, and I know they can get a lot crazier than this when we're talking early 90s to the early 2000s. What we're going to do here is that we're going to go and look at some of these links, and then periodically we're going to have some of the lovely, lovely friends that I have here to jump in with a commercial break, so to speak. So let's get this started. Alright, so we got up here the first one. Yeah, I'm shocked that this was in a kids magazine to be... I wouldn't fly nowadays as kids advertisement, but even teenagers, it probably... maybe. But honestly, like, why isn't that woman just playing games with him? That's a better question. I remember when he couldn't keep his hands off me. Why don't you go play a game with him? Maybe then he'll put his hands back on you. Or, you know, maybe he just wants to play his game. Let the man play his game. I don't know. I totally get why she would think that. But yeah, this definitely shouldn't be for kids. Oh, the classic Mortal Kombat one. Yeah, I loved this one. Kids getting pulled into the Mortal Kombat. That would be terrifying. Like, look at those kids' faces. They're scared. They probably pooped themselves. I'd be freaked out too. There's two men jumping out of an arcade cabinet. That's got to be an oversized arcade cabinet. Yeah, like, they would be squished together. They wouldn't be comfortable. Although they are leaning out pretty far. Yeah, it's always a classic though. So real it hurts. I love me some N64, and I was super hyped for Mario 64. Guess, yeah, Bowser is a dinosaur. I've always just considered him a Bowser, but yeah, I guess he's a dinosaur? Like are turtles dinosaurs? I don't know. I'm not like a paleontologist, although I wanted to be one when I was a kid. Regardless, though, that's a fun one, and yeah, we will definitely be talking about some N64 stories at some point soon. The classic Kirby S'more double pager ad. Yeah, this was one of those ones that made you take the magazine. You're like, oh, I'm reading it. Let's see, it's like a centerfold, but for a s'more and Kirby. So something for both me and my wife. Food for her and games for me. I don't want a s'more. Oh yeah, the Genesis versus the Nintendo. That was a true console war. I mean, I had both at one point at least, but yeah, that was... The TurboGrafx gets left out a lot there. I wish I had a TurboGrafx, and at some point, I may still pick one up, but that was an unsung hero of that generation that no one, at least in North America, really talks about. The other guys just don't stack up. Yeah, there were so many Genesis games compared to Super NES when it first came out. I think I still had more... I'm confident I had more Super Nintendo games than I had Genesis games, but... I'll get around to getting my Genesis. That was a... fun story. Kid with $500 cash in his bank account at like, I was like 10 years old. No, it wouldn't have been 10. It would have been less. 10 was N64. I would have been like 8. An 8-year-old with $500. Think about that. In 1994 money. That's some good financial responsibility. And then I spent it all on the Sega Genesis. The good old bird poop on the face for the arcade stick. Yeah, Eagle Max. Well, not arcade stick. This is the joystick. Yeah, I had, not this one, I still have it, I think it's at my parents' place. I have an arcade stick I got for MechWarrior 2. Let's see if I can hook it up to, well, I'll get around to getting my Pentium 4 Windows XP, or maybe I'll turn that into the 98 system, but it's worth it. Those arcade sticks were, well, not arcade, I'm saying arcade sticks. I say arcade sticks because I have arcade sticks now, but the joysticks there, those really made a big difference for flying games, or in my case, MechWarrior. Oh, Ice Cube on the oh man. Yeah, Ice Cube on Saturn. This was one of those ones that you saw, I'm like, oh, it's Ice Cube, he's on the Sega Saturn, it's so cool. I'm gonna get an N64. I remember that. Everyone was about PlayStation, I just wanted my N64. I did want a PlayStation for Final Fantasy when that left. That really bummed me out, but we can get into that a little bit with the N64 stories, but yeah, still super excited. My buddies Pete, he has a cottage and he has almost every single Sega Saturn game imaginable up there. I think including imports, but that's a video for another day. Maybe we can go up there and revisit some Saturn games, because I don't have them, but he has literally all of them. And we'll have to initiate you guys to Cabin. So if anyone's watching this, and if you're sticking around, we'll initiate you to Cabin. The only way we know how. And I'll leave it at that for now. But all I'm going to say is da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. Oh yeah, a lot of this was gross out humor too, those ads. I don't even recall this game. Oh, it's an edutainment game. That's why I don't recognize it. Yeah, everything was gross out humor, like Booger Man. I wonder if we got any of those in here. That seems like a good time though for a commercial break. So I'm going to hand it over to Avalon here, who wants to talk about a few of the more racy ads.
Hi, my name's Avalon, and as soon as Ty brought up the old adverts from the 90s and noughties, my head turned straight to those really weird sexualized adverts that for some bizarre reason, even Nintendo were getting behind. I don't really have a lot more to say about them because I think it's quite clear why they're weird, but I was quite shocked when I was researching for some pictures to add along to this, that even as recent as the DS had some of those odd adverts, which I thought was quite interesting more than anything else. Anyways, back to you, Ty.
Oh, Heavy Gear! I loved Heavy Gear, specifically too, but oh man, yeah, I would kill for another Activision if they can get their things together and stop causing problems for employees and actually just fire the executives. Why do we have to say that? Just fire the executives. Developers generally aren't the problems. I don't want to get into it. I haven't looked into it. I want to look into it. I just want to play games. But stop doing bad stuff and release a new Heavy Gear. That's all I'm going to say. Then Heavy Gear 2. Yep. It's one of those nice double pagers. Oh man. Monkey Island. Surprisingly not one of those games I super fondly remember. I did get the re-released ones to play. Not really my cup of tea, but I understand why people like them. They're very well done, and that music is amazing. I love the chiptune covers of Monkey Island music. Like the vibe, I want an action platformer set in that world. That's what I want personally. The Worms 2, it's a classic. I didn't get Worms until Worms Armageddon personally, but I remember spending way too much time listening to Linkin Park and playing Worms Armageddon when I was in high school. I got so good with the rope I could swing across the entire level. Yeah, that's a game I gotta go back to. Microprose, they were one of my favorite publishers on PC back in the day. All those Microprose games. Team 17 is turning into quite the publisher now. And then the PC release of Final Fantasy VII. Jolt, Cola, geez, okay. Eliminate distractions like sleep, for example. Okay, Jolt Cola, I'll destroy my heart, thank you very much. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII for PC, geez, that's, I have that somewhere. I was so excited for Final Fantasy VII, and then I played it, and it was nowhere near as good as Final Fantasy VI as far as I was concerned. Even when I played it on PC, I wanted a PlayStation so bad for it. I eventually got a PlayStation, but it was after I got Final Fantasy VII on PC, and the PC version has amazing music. It looks phenomenal comparatively, and I still have my disc copies. They're backed up. I should play it at some point. I get there's been re-releases, and I've played Final Fantasy VII Remake and the DLC, and they're quite good, but I should really give Final Fantasy VII a proper try again. That's something I gotta do. I gotta do some videos. Hopefully you guys will enjoy watching them with me, but I gotta try some games that I either haven't finished or just haven't given a try yet, and you can come along with the journey for me. I did see something about Half-Life 2, I believe, but I still never even beat the original Half-Life, so got those for Counter-Strike. Oh, Red Alert! Yeah, that was classic PC gaming. Command & Conquer, Red Alert. I love those games. I wish I could play them like StarCraft. We'll get to StarCraft for me. Can't believe I missed MechWarrior 3. I remember this ad. It got me so hyped for the game. So hyped. Then I ran a clan on Microsoft Gaming Zone back before Xbox Live was really a thing, and they had their PC gaming stuff. But yeah, MechWarrior 3, man, that takes me back. Jump jets, shoot the legs out, good times. And then there's always the one, the only StarCraft. From the creators of 1995 and 1996, Game of the Yeah, Blizzard, man. Back in the day, Blizzard was no joke. They didn't pump games out, but when they released them, they were in quick succession, and they were great games. Actually, they did kind of pump games out for a small team back then. If you look at the overall output they did as Cyanide and Synapse and Cyanide and Synapse. I forget the name, but yeah, it's impressive what they did, and yeah, StarCraft was a great game. Like I said, I wish I could go back and play it. I have the remastered. Tried to play it. It looked great. Just the amount of time needed for me to enjoy that game is going to dwarf anything else. It's a commitment and a half for me. Batman Forever. I love the soundtrack to that movie. That movie has an underrated soundtrack, man. It's got like Offspring on it. I have the CD. That game was not good though. I have it. I have it on PC. At one point, we'll play it. But yeah, it's not the greatest game. Not the greatest movie. I liked it though. I mean, I was a kid. It's Batman and it had Jim Carrey in it. This was like, it was Tommy Lee Jones. This was like after Men in Black, if I'm remembering correctly. And after Ace Ventura. Like, sign me up, man. I didn't even care about... It was George Clooney that was playing Batman on this one. I didn't even care about Clooney being Batman. Whatever. I wanted to see Jim Carrey as... To be honest, they should have made him Joker. It should have been Jim Carrey as Joker. Let's be honest. Jim Carrey as Joker is what kid me wanted, and I would love to see. Everyone can praise Joaquin Phoenix for that movie. It was good. I'm not gonna... I prefer more of the Clown Prince of Crime take on Joker. Jim Carrey as Joker. That's what I want. Jim Carrey as Joker. They got Colin Farrell as Penguin. Do a sequel. If that movie's good, do a sequel and make Jim Carrey Joker. I'm telling you. I don't know if he wants to do it or not. I'm saying, like, just trap him. Pay him too much money. And then there is the anomaly that is EverQuest. So, we're going to go around a rabbit hole with this one. I, back in the day, wanted to play EverQuest oh so badly. And I didn't want to pay per month because I wasn't working. And I was getting $20 a week? I think, no, maybe $10 a week. Maybe it's $20 a week as allowance. I forget what I was getting as allowance, but it would have eaten a chunk out of my allowance, like, to pay the monthly for that. I didn't have a credit card. I would have had to go and get the game cards, which I think were a bit more expensive back then than just paying with credit card. But yeah, I didn't sink my teeth into MMOs until a little bit later. Played some free stuff like Ragnarok Online. Shout out to my Ragnarok Online friends. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we all played that, I think, and yeah, that was my jam. But I wanted to play EverQuest, and I eventually did when I was a bit older, and yeah, it was good. I get it. Like, it was a great game, and it's a time sink. It's something I'll never probably ever go back to unless I'm retired. But yeah, World of Warcraft got me good, but EverQuest was what made me want to play an MMO. Just so happens that World of Warcraft is the first one I really sunk my teeth into. This is a real problem. This is a real problem for me. Don't forget to eat. Yeah, no, I forget to eat all the time. I forget to drink. I should probably be drinking water right now, but oh, it's a real... You get a good game, you just don't want to put it down. You forget to eat, and you become bones. Nintendo, always with the warnings. Make sure to go outside. Make sure to put the game down. Make sure to eat. Thanks for being a parent, Nintendo. Someone's got to be one. This is the other thing that I never owned as a kid, but I always wanted to. A Voodoo 3DFX. Oh, man. These are bringing me back. Yeah, like, I played Turok on the N64, but I wanted Turok on my PC, but it wasn't a Voodoo FX... And like the heavy gear there with it, and like the 3DFX glide, and like man, yeah, I'm gonna get a Voodoo card at some point if I can and build a PC with it. Just, that'll be my Windows 98 system. Yeah, I'll get a Voodoo for that. Because I didn't have a 3D accelerator back then, and I wanted one, and by the time I got one, I got the Diamond Viper 2. Yeah, that's what it was, the Diamond Viper 2, because Vipers were awesome. Vipers were the thing, including Viper Racing. Check that out at some point. And I think we're good for another commercial break here. We're going to hand it over to Pete Thedor and see what he's got to say.
Oh, if there's something that's always attracted kids to video games, is violence. And we know that now. We know that the ads maybe don't show it, but our kids are actually playing very violent games. Well, in the 90s we surely didn't have this problem, because there's nothing that kids like more than domestic abuse. Ever had the urge to beat up your dad? Video games. Struggling to express your masculinity near your father figure who is better than you in every formal way? Video games. Because in this world we get many questions, but violence is truly the only answer. Graphics so real, you'll forget it's only a game, because if there's something that everybody liked about the Game Boy series was the photorealisticness of the games. This game is called Gargoyle's Quest. I feel like that was right, you know? I'll truly forget that this was even a game. You may think that Batman is at its peak of its popularity now in 2021, but in the 90s, I mean, it had nipples. Batman's fate is in your hands. Batman Trademark Returns, the movie, is now Tiger's hottest handled game. It's you and Batman versus the Penguin trademark, Catwoman trademark, and a whole army of evil enemies. I feel kinda sad that in this list Batman is the only one that is trademark only in the title of the movie. Yeah, we'll trademark the movie, but not the character. That's not really important enough. But if we're looking for something that in the 90s was more popular than violence, photorealistic graphics, and Batman, then we have... I don't really feel like talking about this one.
Catch the Taito Heatwave. Kid's getting his crotch on fire. Like, it just shooting at his TV or the NES. Or the Super NES. I don't even know what's on top. It looks like an NES. Yeah, it's an NES based on the controller. NES is firing his crotch up. He's like, ah! Or is the fire coming from his crotch? I think it's coming to his crotch. That kid's not having kids. Oh, Heat.net. What game this? It wasn't a game that the game didn't exist. I don't think. Let me know down in the comments if you remember what game this was. Because yeah, I don't recall it being a game. But yeah, I remember like all these different PC gaming, like online gaming networks that you needed back then. It's weird how we kind of come full circle with that. There's Steam, there's GOG, there's Origin, that's part of the reason I just play on consoles mostly now. I don't want to deal with it. I have my Steam library and I'm happy with that. Epic Game Store, I guess I have a bit of a library too. Jeez, yeah, too many things. Remember GameSpy though? We play the original Xbox, Halo, online with other people through GameSpy. I remember doing that. That was fun. Can't do that anymore. GameSpy shut down. Makes me sad. It's funny what used to pass for like trying to make it sexualized, but like it's clearly just polygons. I mean, that's as close as we got back then to like an in-game character. Kudos for them for putting the actual rendered character in the game. They didn't try to spruce it up too much. It's higher resolution than you'd get on your TV, but the Clay Fighter! Games weren't great, but they're fun, man. I enjoyed me some Clay Fighter. Especially Clay Fighter 63 and a third. That was just... Claymation games are cool. I could see myself playing another Claymation game. Especially with like the higher resolution, like 4K Claymation game. Do it, man. Someone do it. I'm not good enough for it. I'll be honest with you, but maybe I could do something. Maybe we throw something together, some of us. It'd be kind of fun. Where'd my magazine go? Where did I put it? Oh, it's gotten eaten by the couch. Yeah, no, that's strategy guide. That's something. We'll talk about strategy guides another day. But let me know down below. Do you love those old gaming ads? And like, they just don't feel the same anymore, game ads. I mean, they're cool and they're maybe a little different because we're getting video ads, but those classic print ads are something that I miss. So I'll see you on Saturday for a short, and next game is Tuesday for a brand new video.